Every year around this time, people are setting their New Year's resolutions, and for a lot of people who really want to write more, this seems like a really good opportunity to create a goal and a resolution that will help them write more the following year. I know writing can be super fulfilling, and I don't want you to get to February and be like, where did that resolution even go? So I've got 5 practical tips for you if you are wanting to make writing one of your New Year's resolutions. Tips that I think will help you go the distance with it and to create a writing practice that's really fulfilling for you in multiple ways. Tip number 1 is to make it daily if possible. And I know that this actually goes against a lot of advice around New Year's resolutions. So if you look at like fitness resolutions, for example, a lot of people will say, don't try to do it every single day, try to do it 2 or 3 times a week, or maybe even only once a week if that's what you can do. And I do think that there's value in being realistic about the time that you have. But when it comes to writing, you're better off writing 7 days a week at 5 minutes a day than you are once a week for an hour. Because you will get more done in the 35 minutes spread across the week than in the 1 hour at the end of the week, I can almost guarantee you. When you create a daily writing practice, it really just keeps those creative juices flowing consistently. And honestly, most of us can afford to dedicate more than 5 minutes a day to it. You also then train your brain a lot faster that when I sit down at this time in this place, this is when I write, this is when I'm creative. And over time, and probably a lot faster than you think, your brain will slip into that mode as soon as you get to that time and space. So if you can make your writing habit daily, even if that means decreasing the amount of time in one sitting that you're able to give to it, you're almost guaranteed to be more successful than a less frequent habit, even if it comes with a larger block of time. The second tip I want to give you is to focus on time investment rather than word count. And the reason for this, and there are 2 different reasons for this. One is because creativity really does ebb and flow. You're not going to sit down every single day and immediately be in the zone. Some days you sit down and it's just not happening. If you're forcing yourself to hit a certain word count each day, then you're going to run into practical issues with that. Because if you say, I want to write 500 words a day, and one day that takes you an hour, but the next day after that hour, you've only got 150 words done, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit down for another hour? Do you have that other hour to give? Are you going to try to do another hour, but you're going to get frustrated halfway through or distracted by something else that needs doing? By focusing on the time investment instead, you're establishing that habit. And again, over time, your brain will be trained to get into the flow a little bit more easily. Also, word count can be really hard to predict for people. If you're new to a writing habit, you may be surprised at how much you can get done in a certain amount of time or how much time you need to hit a certain word count. So by focusing on the time investment, you're kind of taking the pressure off of the output a little bit, and you're just giving yourself the focused time and space for that output to reveal itself. The third tip goes with that, and that's actually to give yourself less time than you think you need. So if you say to yourself, you know what, I've actually got a lot of free time in 2023, I'm gonna give myself 3 hours a day to write. First of all, that's a lot of time to sit around and write. Even really famous writers don't write for that long every day. They're spending most of their days doing the things that are filling up their cup and things that they can do while they think about their story, so that then when they sit down to write, it comes out usually quicker than that. There are exceptions to that, obviously. But if you think that you have 3 hours to give to writing, I would encourage you to actually maybe only give an hour and a half to writing, and use the rest of that time to do things that just really make you feel alive and fulfilled. Because that feeling of fulfillment is what's going to create the output in your writing that's going to motivate you further. If you think you have an hour, maybe try to give yourself 30 minutes instead. If you think you have all day, carve out just a couple of hours that are dedicated to writing. I'm almost willing to bet that your output will still be at the level that you're hoping for, if not more, but you'll be spending more time doing other things that you love, and your writing will be more fulfilling as a result. Number 4 is to get your friends and family on board. Now, I know that it can be super vulnerable to share your writing with other people, and I'm not even asking you to do that. What I'm asking you to do is tell people, hey, I really want to give writing a fair shot this year, and I'm going to be carving out time for it. And ask those people to do one of two things. If they live with you, ask them to help facilitate that time for you. Ask them to take on one more of the household chores so that you can do it. Or ask them to make dinner more often so that you don't have to do that and you can use that time to do your writing instead. If they don't live with you, ask them to ask you about your writing. Knowing that other people are going to ask you about it can help to create motivation. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on a person-by-person basis. I've been in seasons of my life where people asking me about my work actually really stressed me out. But give it a go, and I'm willing to bet that if people ask you in a way that is gentle and open to whatever answer you give them, that actually it'll be quite motivating to know that people are rooting for you. And the fifth tip that I have for you is to write something that really interests you. I'm hoping that if you're wanting to make writing a goal for 2023 and it's one of your resolutions, that's because you've found something that you want to write that really excites you. However, if it's because you're trying to make writing a second income stream, or you're trying to write to a specific brief or something, I would really encourage you to discard that way of thinking. Because as you're trying to make writing a habit, it's really helpful to have a story that you feel really compelled to tell and something you really feel compelled to explore. So find something that really interests you and just embrace that curiosity. Let that curiosity and that enthusiasm carry you through the story rather than trying to have some sort of external reason why that's something that you're writing. Make sure that that's really intrinsic for you. Following these 5 tips has helped me to create a daily writing practice over the past year and a bit, and it's something that brings so much fulfillment and joy to my life. And I believe that if you follow these tips, then this time next year, you'll be able to look back and say, wow, I've achieved so much in my writing as a writer this year, and I'm so proud of it.
Hey, look at us.
Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
And really, that's all you could possibly want from a New Year's resolution, right? I love talking about developing a creative practice. I love talking about the habits that facilitate the writing that I do. So if you want to hear more about that, don't forget to hit subscribe. I've got lots of videos coming your way in 2023, lots of writing vlogs to help you feel like you've got someone right there with you on this journey. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.